In this chapter, we will talk about the urinary system. And we will start with the organs of the urinary system. We have the kidneys, 2 kidneys. From them, there are 2 ureters. These ureters will lead to the bladder. And from the bladder, there is the urethra. And the main function of each one is that the kidney is filtration and generating urine, ureters transporting urine, bladder temporarily holding it, and the urethra is the exertion tunnel. Now, for the functions of the urinary system, of course, the main one is regulating water volume and solid concentration in the blood, in the body fluids. Since urine is mainly water, so controlling the amount of water into the urine means regulating the water volume in the body. Also, kidneys play important role in the acid-base balance. Of course, they have a major role, this system, in exerting waste, toxins, and drugs. Other 2 functions are related to the relationship with other organs, like producing renin. This would regulate the blood pressure, and producing erythropoietin to increase red blood cells production. Additionally, in the kidney, mainly we have activation of vitamin D. And frankly, all of these functions are functions of the kidney. Whereas the ureter, the bladder, the urethra, they have very limited functions, mainly transporting and storing urine. So that's what we are going to focus on the kidneys. As you know, we have 2 kidneys. They are toward the lower part of the posterior side of the body, partially protected by the last 2 ribs, by the floating ribs, and they are behind the peritoneum. So that's why they are called retroperitoneal in their location. They are in the size of the fist, and of course above each one of them there is the adrenal gland. If we do a coronal cut in the kidney, we will see different structures. The first area we're going to stop at is the cortex, and the cortex, you can think of it as the outer area of the kidney. Now, the kidney itself is surrounded with the connective tissue, with the fibrous connective tissue. That is very tough to protect it, but beneath it, we will have the cortex. And the cortex is important, we'll see it later, because it contains the structures that are responsible for filtration of the blood and generating urine. So that's the cortex. Beneath the cortex, there is the medulla. And the medulla is the lower region, or a little bit inner region of the kidney. The medulla is made out of something called the papilla. And the papilla, we can think of them are conducting ducts or collecting tubes running all the way through the medulla. And these tubes are running in a structure called the pyramids. So each one of these like triangular shapes is a pyramid. And you need to understand, keep in mind that we're looking at a 3D structure. So this is like a flipped pyramid. The base of the pyramid is here, whereas the tip of the pyramid is here in this area, and this will continue. So the base of the pyramid is wide as the kidney itself. At the end of these pyramids, we have regions that will collect the urine from all of these collecting ducts. These regions called minor calyx at the tip of each pyramid. These minor calyx would lead to a major calyx. So 2 or 3 of the minor calyx will open to a major calyx. So here we will have a major calyx, here we will have a major calyx, here we will have a major calyx. So we are tracking the pathway of the urine. From the major calyx, the urine will be collected into the renal pelvis. And the renal pelvis is just a wider region of this area. Of course, here we can't see it because it's covered by the blood vessels and the nerve. But if we remove it, and I don't have an image that without these blood vessels, we will see the renal pelvis. Now, the urine collected there will be drained through the ureter all the way to the urinary bladder. But basically, that is the structure of the kidney. So as I said, the urinary flow would come through the pyramid to the minor calyx, to the major calyx, to the renal pelvis, and then to the ureter, and from there it will go to the urinary bladder. One important concept of the kidney work is they are dealing always with the blood, and they have to filter that blood to generate urine. For the blood and the blood supplies to the kidney, and before we go there, I mentioned briefly that we have the nephrons in the cortex. And these nephrons, and we will study them extensively, nephron, these are filtration site. So we need to get the blood all the way to here. We need to get the blood all the way to here. And to understand the concept behind the blood supplies to the nephrons, I need you to think of the nephrons as houses in a neighborhood. So we have several houses in the neighborhood, and this is their like the drive, okay, the road that would reach them. Now this road is coming from a bigger road, and this bigger road is coming from also a bigger road, a main road, and so on. Think of the water supplies. Think of the water supplies that has to reach each house. This is coming from a major pipeline in the main road. That major pipeline will get smaller into the second road, and then it will get smaller into the third road, and from there it will give small pipes to each house, right? Now if we think of these houses as nephrons, so we get the concept behind how the blood supplies are delivered to the nephrons. Now, why do we need to deliver them to the nephrons? Because we said this is the site for urine formation. And urine formation basically is done by filtration. So this is the area that is going to generate the urine, and that's why we need to deliver the blood to them. So in order to do this, we will have a major blood supply, a major artery, that is the renal artery. So we will have the renal artery. Renal artery will go inside the kidney and will give us the segmental artery. So here, this is, you can think of it, this is the renal artery, and these are the segmental arteries. From the segmental artery, we will have another branch. That branch is called the interlobar artery. Interlobar artery. The interlobar basically is going to walk up on the side of the pyramids. All of these I'm drawing are interlobar arteries. Now, once they are at the base of the pyramid, they will wrap along it. So they will turn and keep walking along the base of the pyramid. At that point, we will call them arcuate arteries, or the arcuate arteries. So this is the arcuate. From there, they will go even up. They will extend up into the cortex. And these, we will call them the cortical radiate artery. The cortical radiate artery. And from there, it will be delivered to the nephron, which we will see later. So from there, it goes to the nephron. Okay? It goes to the nephron. So that is the blood end. And of course, the renal artery, the blood is coming from the abdominal aorta, right? So this is the abdominal aorta, and we will have the renal artery. Now, if we go back to our example of the houses, we said there is the fresh water coming, but now we have to take the sewer. And the sewer would go in the opposite direction. So it will start with the small pipelines and will get larger and larger as they are moving up to the streets. So now we will see the return back of the blood from the kidney. And since we ended up with the nephron, we will start again with the nephron. From the nephron, we will have the cortical radiate vein or veins. These will collect into arcuate veins, which will collect or drain into the interlobar veins, which directly end up in the renal vein, which will take it to the inferior vena cava. So it will start again here with the cortical radiate vein. These are draining blood from the nephrons. These will merge into the arcuate. We said the arcuate are the one running on the base of the pyramid. Then they will go down the pyramid into the interlobar veins, and from the interlobar veins, it will directly go to the renal vein, which will take it to the inferior vena cava. So it's kind of the opposite direction. Aorta, renal artery, segmental artery, interlobar artery, arcuate artery, cortical radiate artery. Then this area we are skipping for now, that's the nephron. Then coming back, it's the cortical radiate vein, arcuate vein, interlobar vein, renal vein, and inferior vena cava. So then the only difference is that here we have segmental artery. We don't have a segmental vein in the vein system in the kidneys. Okay? So that is the blood supplies to the kidney. So I will stop here. In the following video, we'll talk about the nephron.